everyone, welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. My name's Alice and today I'm going to be telling you all about my TBR for July. And I'm very excited because it is my very first Jane Austen July. Hi everyone, welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. If you're new here, welcome, and my name's Alice. I talk about books and I currently own over 200 books that I have not yet read. So it's my mission to get through this massive backlog of books. Anyway, today's video is my July TBR and I'm very excited about it because it is my first ever Jane Austen July. Jane Austen July is being hosted by Katie at Books and Things, Claudia at Spinster's Library and Marissa at Blatantly Bookish. I will link all three of their channels and their announcements down below. So I'm going to be participating in Jane Austen July, but there are also other books that I'm going to talk about later in the video that are nothing to do with Jane Austen July. I don't have the right books on my shelf to cover all of the prompts for Jane Austen July. I always find that when I'm reading classics, I like to have other things on the go or on standby to take a break or to read after the classics. So I do plan on reading some summary books as well. So Jane Austen July. First of all, I'd like to start with a confession, which is that I have not read very many Jane Austen books at all. I've actually only read Northanger Abbey and Persuasion. You're going to say in the comments that I should have read more Jane Austen, but I'm at a point in my life now where I'm just really starting to appreciate the classics, finally, and to really want to read more of them. So I'm very excited to join in with Jane Austen July. Hello, Harry. You going to join in with Jane Austen July? Yeah? You sit down. Because we're talking about Jane Austen July, aren't we? Yeah. Let's carry on. Yeah, so a disclaimer is that I am very underread in Jane Austen, and as I say, I've only read those two of her books, and I'm aware that they are the two smallest. Thank you, Harry. It looks like my cat has decided to join me for the remainder of the video, so apologies for any interruption. The prompts for Jane Austen July are as follows. Number 1 is to read one of the 6 main novels, and I am planning to read Mansfield Park for the read-along that is happening this month. As you can see, I have got this copy out of the library. One of the reasons I'm not going to be able to fulfill all of the prompts is because I don't want to read too much from the library or borrowed each month at the moment, especially in light of the video that I've just made of my entire TBR, which turns out to be at 218 books. So although this is from the library, I really would prefer to stick as much as possible to reading from my shelves. So Mansfield Park will be my Jane Austen for July. I also recently got a free audiobook from World Book Night of Emma. So if I do decide I need more Jane Austen content in July, I may well listen to the audiobook of Emma. Thanks, Harry. I actually read Persuasion in April, so I won't be joining in with the read-along of that, but that gives me a little bit more time to get through Mansfield Park if I do get behind. I'm excited to read Mansfield Park. I know it's some people's favourite. I know it's also a Jane Austen that maybe doesn't get as much of a mention as Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, Emma. So I feel like it's maybe a slightly more obscure one, but really looking forward to reading it, and we'll see how I get on with a slightly longer Jane Austen. Prompt number 2 is to read something of Jane Austen's that is not a novel. If I do this prompt, I may borrow one of Jane Austen's unfinished novels for this from my mum. I'm leaning towards Sanditon if I do that, but as I said, I don't want to borrow too much this month, so I may or may not read Sanditon. I'm not going to be able to fulfill prompt 3 or 4, which was a non-fiction about Jane Austen or her time, or a retelling of a Jane Austen novel. I won't be able to do those because I don't have anything on my shelves to fulfil that criteria, but I do have a book for prompt number 5, which is a book by a contemporary of Jane Austen, and what I have on my shelf for this is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I've been meaning to read this book for a very long time now. It's always been a book that I really have wanted to get round to, and I never have. I feel like I already know a lot about Frankenstein from popular culture. Hopefully this is one I'm going to really enjoy. Looking forward to meeting Frankenstein's monster in person and finding out for myself how great this book is. On to prompts number 6 and 7, which is to watch adaptations of Jane Austen. I am going to try and do these, and believe it or not, I have never watched fully an adaptation of Pride and Prejudice, so I think that's what I'm going to do in July. I may either watch the infamous Colin Firth series, or I might watch the more modern film. I think it stars Keira Knightley maybe, so I might watch that. And for prompt number 7, which is to watch a modern day adaptation, I will probably revisit Clueless because it's a film that I absolutely loved when I was younger, and I would like to see it again and think about it, especially if I do listen to Emma on audiobook. I'd like to compare it to Clueless, because up until probably quite a short time ago, I don't think I really realised that Clueless was a remake of Emma. So it'll be interesting to watch it in light of having read Emma, hopefully. So that will be my Jane Austen July. For my less classic part of July, I'm planning on some summer reads. I've only chosen 5 this month to tell you about because I think that I'll have plenty to be getting on with lots of classics, but I've chosen 5 books in 5 different genres, and I chose them while my entire 218 books were out on my dining table the other day, so I had plenty of opportunity to see the whole TBR in all its glory and pick 5 summer reads for myself. So starting off with horror, I think this is horror. I've had this book for absolutely ages. It's Let the Right One In, which was made into a film called Let Me In. This is by John Ajvide Lindqvist. I don't know if I've pronounced that right, sorry. And this is a book about a vampire, I believe. So I wanted to read this for a long time. I think I've had it since around about 2009 or 10. And the blurb on this one sounds really intriguing. It says, "He is a 12-year-old outsider bullied at school, dreaming about his absentee father, bored with life on a dreary housing estate. One evening he meets a mysterious girl. As friendship blossoms between them, he discovers her dark secret. She is a 200-year-old vampire, forever frozen in childhood and condemned to live on a diet of fresh blood. Let the Right One In is the inspiration behind the major film Let Me In. It is a disturbing and brilliant reworking of the vampire legend and a deeply moving fable about rejection, friendship and loyalty." I think I probably bought this with the intention of reading it and then seeing the film. I haven't seen the film and I haven't read the book, so I might do both in July. I do like to read a book first before I see a film, so if the film is available to me anywhere, I will probably watch that in July as well and compare the two. The second genre I've chosen a book from is children's, and I would like to read The Vile Village, which is book the 7th of the series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. I also have book the 8th, The Hostile Hospital, to read, so I might read both. I found when I read the first 6 of these, I kind of read a couple at a time, one leads to another, they're quite short, so I may read both or I may read just one. I have enjoyed this series so far. I think it's very funny, I think it's very clever the way it's written, and this is a series that I would like to get to the end of, and I absolutely love the blurbs of these because they always say things like this. This one says, "Dear reader, you have undoubtedly picked up this book by mistake, so please put it down. Nobody in their right mind would read this particular book about the lives of Violet, Klaus and Sonny Baudelaire on purpose, because each dismal moment of their stay in the village of VFD has been faithfully and dreadfully recorded in these pages. I can think of no single reason why anybody would want to open a book containing such unpleasant matters as migrating crows, an angry mob, a newspaper headline, the arrest of innocent people, the deluxe cell, and some very strange hats. It is my solemn and sacred occupation to research each detail of the Baudelaire children's lives and write them all down. But you may prefer to do some other solemn and sacred thing, such as reading another book instead. With all due respect, Lemony Snicket. So I'm looking forward to getting to those, and might get to them in July. My next genre is fiction, and I have a hardback copy of Her Fearful Symmetry by Audrey Niffeneger. Many years ago I read Audrey Niffeneger's debut, which was The Time Traveller's Wife. I absolutely love that book. It's one of my favourites of all time. So I am looking forward to reading this, but having said that, I've been looking forward to reading it for years. My mum gave me this copy after she'd read it, so hopefully it will be interesting. And one of the things I find most interesting sounding about this book is that it's about twins. I find twins very fascinating, so I'm looking forward to reading this. It also claims in the blurb that there are echoes of Henry James and Dickens, so that should be interesting to look out for those. The next genre on my list was non-fiction, and I'm going to try and read, I think this will be the perfect book for summer. It's Tom Cox's Ring the Hill. If you've already seen any of my other videos, you'll know I really enjoy Tom Cox's writing, especially all of his books about cats. He's written 4 books about cats called Under the Paw, Talk to the Tail, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and The Good, the Bad and the Furry. They are just hilarious books about cats, and there's usually more about his cats in these books. I've read the first of his nature books, which is called 21st Century Yokel, and this is the second one, Ring the Hill. I think Tom Cox is such a brilliant non-fiction writer because his writing is hilarious and also beautifully descriptive of the countryside. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I love reading his nature books in summertime. My final genre is thrillers, and I am going to be reading Lee Child's Past Tense, which is another Jack Reacher thriller. I'm planning to do a video all about the Jack Reacher series very soon, and so I thought it was the perfect time to pick up one of the few remaining Jack Reachers that I have left to read. I think after this one I only have 2 full-length novels left and 1 book of short stories. So I've chosen this over the short stories because I've read a couple of short story collections this month. So I'm looking forward to a full-length Jack Reacher thriller. These are usually very fast-paced and just grip me in from the word go. So I can't wait to read this, and so it's going to be my final choice for July for summer reads. So to sum up, I'm hoping to do lots of summer reading in July and participate in my first ever Jane Austen July, so I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done, but definitely going to read Mansfield Park, so stay tuned for that. I'll make some progress videos over the course of the month. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these books or would like to, or if you'd like to see any further videos about any of them. Thanks for watching. I hope you all have a brilliant Jane Austen July and get lots of reading done, whatever you're planning to read. I hope you'll give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. I hope to see you all again soon for another video all about books on Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Bye for now.